So, if you've been paying attention to gaming news recently, I don't know how you haven't heard yet. Um, Sony's announcement that they're going to stop producing physical discs for new PlayStation games starting in 2028. And you know, honestly, it's just something I've been thinking about for a while. Um, because I grew up in an era where physical games were just normal. I grew up with PS1, like late era PS1, PS2, PS3 games, um, and even PS4 to an extent. You went to the store, you bought the game, brought it home, opened it up, and put the disc in the console, and that was it. So I wanted to, I guess, talk about how I feel about physical media disappearing because I know um, some people, including me, have kind of mixed feelings about it. Um, so growing up, uh, they were just something special. I know it sounds pretty cliche, but something special about going to the store and seeing just rows and rows of games in the display case, whether it be like at Target or Best Buy or Walmart, um, or on the shelves at like a GameStop or EB Games or Funko Land, if you remember that. Looking at the box art, reading the back of the case, choosing between games because you had limited money when you were younger. Um, Getting a game, opening it up for Christmas or your birthday. Opening it up for the first time, uh, putting that disc into the console. There's just something about that just, it's pretty special, it's kind of over with, being phased out. Um, there's just something different about physically having the game in your hands. If back in the day, if I had a game you wanted to play, I could just literally hand you the disc, like hey, let me borrow Def Jam. Sure, if you let me borrow Midnight Club, it would just hand it over, just, and there was no account sharing, no licensing questions. No, you need to be logged into this account, you didn't need an internet connection to play the game, just here, swap disc. It just, that's how simple it was. But nostalgia isn't the only reason I'm concerned about physical games disappearing. um, I guess it's more about, I already touched on it, I guess, but preservation. Physical copies mean that in many cases the game exists independently of a company's servers or storefront. You can have a PS2 game sitting on a shelf 20, 25 years later and still play it, as long as you still have a PS2, and I guess there is a bit of irony here because I'm literally playing these old games on the channel through an emulator, like how most people do these days. You know, some games, you could are going to become, extremely difficult to, quote unquote legally obtain. If you want to sail the seven seas, if you want to, get those games. Some games could just effectively disappear from the mainstream, and that's especially relevant to the kind of games I'm making videos about mainly. I do but I do plan to do more modern games eventually. Yeah, so that's always something I've thought about, since I've started this channel. I don't think there's it's 100% disadvantages to digital only. I guess some advantages are just instant downloads, no physical storage. Some people don't mind that, some people do. Don't have to get up and change discs, even though that's like an extremely first world problem. digital sales can be, pretty cheap. Um, you can have dozens, if not hundreds of games available instantly, as long as you've got, the space for it, the hard drive for it. Uh, no scratch disk. That was never really. I guess it was kind of a problem for me. Not too often. I took care of my games when in the PS2, PS3 era. Um, but like I've mentioned earlier, there are some things about digital ownership I'm not completely comfortable with. The whole going back to the whole licensing thing and that type of stuff. But it just feels like you don't really own it. It's like a lot of people have already said, you purchase a license or access to the game rather than possessing a physical, tangible object I can touch. Um, and I said it earlier, storefronts can disappear, because I'm pretty sure they've already announced that the PS3 and PS Vita stores will close, I think, July of next year, July 2027, I think they said, globally. Um, so just, it's like we don't even have to imagine what happens when a digital storefront goes away, because it's already in the process of happening. Um, and it's just, like I said, licensing issues and music rights and publisher shutdowns, delistings, all these factors that can go into just the digital version of games just being gone like that. They could just take it away whenever they feel like it. But honestly, I knew, in a nutshell, I knew this day was coming though. It's just I knew this day was coming, eventually. Um, Digital downloads have become, more and more normal over the past few years. I think especially since 2020, since COVID, for whatever reason, I guess. Well, I guess, people not going out and stuff, but, and, I've also watched how games get larger and larger, requiring huge downloads anyway. So, along with day one patches, games being released digitally just seemed more and more commonplace, more and more the norm. According to Sony, the digital sales will become more and more significant over physical copy sales. Some consoles will only offer digital only versions of games now. So when Sony finally came out and announced it, I wasn't all that shocked. It's more like I guess we're at that point finally. So I guess to wrap this up, really, am I against digital games? Not really. I don't hate them. At this point I'm kind of indifferent. It's I buy digital games too, and honestly, full transparency, when I do buy games these days, it is more often than not digital. It's just more convenient. So there's nothing really inherently wrong with digital. My only concern is digital becoming the only option, which is it's what we're going towards, that's what we're moving towards. So my final thoughts and opinions, it sucks that physical media is disappearing, but I also, at the same time, on the same token, I understand, I guess, why we're moving in this direction. I understand why companies are preferring digital, and I understand why some consumers like the convenience of that. But personally, it does suck still to see physical games disappearing. I just think there's something special about actually owning a physical copy of a game, being able to put it on a shelf lend it to somebody or come back months or even years, 10, 15 years later, and just play it whenever you feel like it. Um, Especially someone who spends a lot of time playing older games, preservation does matter to me. But to close, I don't know what gaming is going to look like 10, 20, or even 5 years from now. Maybe I'll eventually get used to everything being more digital. I pretty much already am. But yeah, that's just how I feel about it, and I'm curious, what you guys think. So just let me know in the comments if you feel like it. All right, I'm out.